So in 2025, the Nigerian government passed a set of comprehensive tax reform laws, the most significant overhaul in decades, I must say. These laws effectively merge and modernize Nigeria's old tax regime, like the old Personal Income Tax Act and VAT rules, into a more unified, digital, and broader tax framework. So, what are the key statutes? The Nigerian Tax Act of 2025, the Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025, the Nigeria Revenue Service Act, and the Joint Revenue Board Act. So these collectively streamline tax rules and enforcement across federal and state levels. Now, I think it is unpatriotic to offhandedly dispatch the new tax laws, maybe because you do not like President Bola Tinubu or the APC. So what's in for Nigerians? What's in for you as a Nigerian? The nation now has a progressive income tax regime, meaning that tax rates rise with income. That is taken. I repeat, tax rates rise with income, but lower earners are protected. Now, how do I mean? If you earn from a naira to 800,000 naira per year, you are tax exempt, fully tax exempt. You are not paying personal income tax. So if you earn the minimum wage or you are a low income worker, you won't pay personal income tax at all. So for those who have been screaming, oh, I'm a civil servant, will be paying a lot. If you're earning you're a low income earner, you're not paying personal income tax. Now, if you're earning above, from 800 upwards, the rate starts from 15% up to 25% on higher brackets. So middle income earners pay moderate progressive rates. Top earners, very high income earners might pay up to 25%. Well, I think that's fair enough. Then I also like the introduction of rent relief. The old consolidated relief allowance has been abolished and replaced with new reliefs like rent relief. Also, there is mandatory registration and filing. So under the new tax administration rules, all working individuals must have a tax identification number. And what that means, in my interpretation, is that all sources of income now count. Salaries are taxed, freelance or gig work income is also taxed now. Digital income is taxed. Overseas income, you worked for a particular person abroad and you were paid for work done. I didn't say gift, so work done. You're paid for work done, maybe by an organization overseas, you'll be taxed. Now, as part of the new tax laws is the VAT, the VAT, which is 7.5%. Now, it's the same as before. It didn't change. VAT 7.5%. All of us have been paying it all along anyway. It's just that now that it is pronounced, I see some cross-section of Nigerians complaining about it. VAT had always been 7.5%. Now, what is VAT? For those who may not know, value added tax. It's a consumption tax on goods and services. So let me give an example. If you buy a TV for 100,000 naira and it is VATable, because some items are off the list. So if what you bought is VATable, for instance, television, the VAT charged on 100,000 naira television is 7,500. So your total cost will be 107,500. Now, before you start the alarm and say, oh, how much are we going to pay for every goods that we buy? Now, this is one of the biggest changes for individuals. Basic goods and services will not attract VAT. You're not paying VAT on basic goods and services. For instance, basic food items, rice, beans, bread, no VAT. All right? Medical equipment and products, no VAT as well. Educational materials, you go to a bookshop to buy books, to buy stationeries, no VAT. Okay? Exports, except oil and gas, no VAT. All right? And I think that's good news for SMEs. Now, baby products and locally made sanitary products, are also not not vatable. They're not. I mean, they're exempt rather from VAT. Now, how about services? Electricity supplied to the grid, it's no VAT, because at the end of the day, it helps individuals, you and I, to pay less, so to speak. I mean, if it was vatable, it means we'll pay more for power. Healthcare services, for example, doctor consultations, there's no VAT. Tuition fees and other educational services, no VAT as well. Passenger road transport, you're traveling from here to Lagos, let's say 7,000 naira, you're not paying VAT. So there's no, oh, it's 7,000 naira and then you pay 525 naira extra. No. Rent on accommodation, no VAT. Paying school fees, like I said earlier, or even hospital bills, no VAT. So for vatable items, there's a system for businesses to remit that to the government. There's a system for that already. There's a framework for it. So businesses are just collection points for the government. Now, you realize I focused more on the individual. Yeah, because I realize a number of Nigerians lamenting the new tax laws are actually beneficiaries. You see, how? Eshiolutu. With all I've explained, and if you go online to read furthermore, you will see that low earners get tax relief. High earners pay rates that contribute more to national needs. So how do we all contribute to national needs if we all run away from paying tax? And if you're earning from 800,000 naira below, you're exempted. I mean, I think that's good enough for an average individual who is in Nigeria. I should also add that the era of informal tax reckoning has ended or is ending. There's digital filing now, and tax ID systems make the system more transparent. Well, I acknowledge that there is a broader tax base with this new tax law. Yes, the government now captures income from non-traditional sources. And I said, earlier, digital foreign income, yes, they tax them now to increase revenue. So for Nigerians concerned about implementation and complexity of compliance, well, you have a right to complain and probably suggest what should be done. However, I admire Taiwo Oyedele and his team. They've done a great job, and I strongly believe financial burdens on households will reduce drastically with the 800,000 naira and below bracket being exempted from personal income tax. However, I must state and acknowledge that headline inflation, food inflation must reduce practically for Nigerians to truly experience economic relief. I wouldn't know if you agree, if you disagree, or you agree. I need to see your comments. Thank you.